What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, with a little ranking of Van Halen's studio albums. I'm going to do this in parts. Part one, the first DLR David Lee Roth era, from their debut all the way through 1984. And then I will make a second video with all the other albums that they did, including Hagar, DLR, what's his name from that band. So the Frank Zappa connection, Steve Vai. Steve Vai played on David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile solo album. So we got the Steve Vai connection. And Steve Vai was in Zappa's band, if you did not know that. My background with Van Halen, I'm an LA kid, born and raised in Los Angeles, not the city itself, but the large metropolitan. I lived in the LA metropolitan area growing up. Big Van Halen fan. Of these 6 albums, there were 6 of them that they did until David Lee Roth left the band for the first time. 3 of them, I would say, have been my favorite album from Van Halen at one point in time. So this ranking is a snapshot of November 2025. But I would say the bottom 3 are usually the bottom 3. Number 4 is the tricky one that kind of sometimes works its way up to 3, sometimes maybe even 2, never quite 1. The bottom 2 have always clearly been my bottom 2. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to talk about them, rank them, not play music from them. I'll put the list on the screen when I'm done. And then in the next video, I will do the ones that followed and then incorporate those 2 lists together. So yeah, let's get on with my number 6, which is this one. Diver Down, their 5th. This one is, it almost seems like, I think this one was rushed, or it seems like they're running out of ideas at this point. 5 covers, 3 instrumentals. Great thing about Van Halen albums, are all like 30 minutes long, so you can listen to a couple of them. Some great songs on here, but there's also an inconsistency to some of this. And one of my least favorite Van Halen tracks of this era is on this album. So I like this album, though. It's the opening track is Where Have All the Good Times Gone? The Kinks cover, awesome choice, awesome execution, 100% for it. Huge Kinks fan. I support this. And it helps me get into this album because the opening song is Where Have All the Good Times Gone? So even though it's number 6, I kind of still listen to it. Hang 'Em High is next, really like high speed adrenaline rocker that like Eddie's just playing throughout the entire thing. Awesome adrenaline in this. Cathedral, 1.5-minute instrumental with some like very proggy sort of guitar sound effects, really kind of loopy type, proggy type instrumental exploration by Eddie that I like. Into Secrets, which is a really, really good, kind of clean, mid-tempo pop rock vibe. Other than the covers, Secrets is sort of the gem of this album. Next is Intruder, into Oh Pretty Woman, which I love. I mean, for being a number 6 album, I still absolutely love this album. The Intruder instrumental with the guitar just pounding away, Eddie making all these noises on the guitar. It goes directly into Oh Pretty Woman, which I think is another fantastic cover. Love the instrumental Intruder as a lead-in. Absolutely amazing. Works perfectly. It's the second half of the album where I kind of fall off. A cover of Dancing in the Street. Don't ever need a cover of Dancing in the Street, anywhere, anyhow, anything. I do like the effects that Eddie's using throughout it, just to give it a little Van Halen flavor, but I don't want a Dancing in the Street cover. And the song fades out. If Van Halen has a fatal flaw in these first 6 albums, it is their fade out at the end of songs that happens way too often. Little guitars, little acoustic instrumental for about 45 seconds. That goes into little guitars proper, little guitars intro, little guitars proper. Mid-tempo, it's electric, nice energy, kind of flirting with a little bit of a proggy vibe in there. Kind of reminds me of the Tubes' Talk to You Later with that dun, 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 dun kind of vibe to the rhythm guitar. A little bit of a new wave rock sound. Like you can see what's going on elsewhere in the early 80s is kind of seeping into Van Halen. Not a bad song. But then one of my least favorite songs Van Halen ever committed to vinyl, Big Bad William is Sweet William Now. jazzy cover song. This seems like it's 100% a David Lee Roth thing. Would have fit perfect on his first EP, the one that had California Girls on it. That, Just a Gigolo. It should have been on that. They should have said no. Somebody should have put their foot down. I'm a no on this one. Full Bug has a bluesy acoustic intro for about 24 seconds. Then we go into this fun drive-in electric Van Halen rocker. Then we close out with an a cappella Happy Trails with David starting off with a boom ba doom ba doom ba doom. No, no, no. I don't need this. This is a pretty good album. Like for a number 6, it's a pretty good album. It's just the second half has 2 songs that I don't ever need to hear again. That's my number 6. Diver Down. My number 5 is this one, their second album. Another really good album. It's just they got 4 really better albums. Yeah, and I think Linda Ronstadt. They cover Linda Ronstadt on this. So there's the Zappa-Linda Ronstadt connection because Zappa and Linda did a commercial way back in the 60s. It opens up with You're No Good, the Linda Ronstadt cover, which I don't think she wrote herself. It's a cover of another song, but I thought Linda Ronstadt when I first heard this. It's not particularly a good cover. I'm a huge Linda Ronstadt fan, so I got to say no on this one. I think it's maybe a good choice, but I don't know. Just doesn't do it for me. It is sort of awesomely indulgent that they're doing this, but nah, I don't know. I just have to pass on this. Dance the Night Away, which has that awesome little really cool riff, kind of a fun little song. Very much sounds like Feel Your Love Tonight off their opening album, and it feels like Feel Your Love Tonight was the template for this, and they kind of made that version a little bit bigger and poppier, and this maybe works a little bit better. Obviously it did because this was a hit, the other one wasn't, though I do think maybe the other one's a little bit better because it's not as poppy. Torn on this. Somebody Get Me a Doctor, nice big intro, nice riff-driven rock, little Scorpion sort of high-speed musicality to this. Really like this, nice playful start and stop middle. Boys having fun. Bottoms Up has this ZZ Top sort of boogie type vibe. Really nice Van Halen solo in this. Out of Love Again, one of the highlights on this album. Just really nice, great, tight rock. Some nice swag in this. The energy is good. The guitar playing is fantastic. Probably the highlight of the album up to this point. Light Up the Sky, just your high-speed, upbeat Van Halen rocker. Nice little burst of adrenaline. Spanish Fly, acoustic, sort of the acoustic version of Eruption off the first album. DOA, another really good song, sort of this big guitar riff into a nice, okay rocker. Lyrics are about this down and out kid. There's this nice little swag to this song. Some great bass playing. Not my favorite rhythm section. Like describing Van Halen's sound, I think is always weird because they're not metal. Are they hard rock? Are they rock? Are they pop rock? I've always thought of Van Halen as just being Van Halen. And part of that is the rhythm section is very interesting rhythm section, I think. But every once in a while, Anthony Michael steps up and just drops some Anthony Michael Hall steps up and drops some really cool bass playing in there. DOA is one of them. Women in Love, ballady vibe, lots of solo energy to hear, a little bit folky. Intro, this is the intro, then we drop into another mid-tempo, slightly slower vibe. And then Beautiful Girls, which closes out the album, an absolute banger. This should have been the opening track. I don't know why this is buried last. Did somebody not believe in this? This is a great song. This has there's elements to the lyrics that give it a Steven Tyler Walk This Way type flow to it that I think should be there. But yeah. It's another really good album, but that would be my number 5. Their second, Van Halen 2. Number 4 is their fourth, 1981's Fair Warning. This is one of those that can jump up to 3 sometimes and jump up to 2 sometimes, depending on my mood. It's kind of a darker album. I think it's their sleeper album. I think of their top 4, it easily ranks. It's a little bit better than the ones I've already talked about. Opens up with Mean Street, which is just Eddie's just flexing in the beginning, showing off. We drop into a riff. Michael Anthony's bringing an amazing bass groove in there. Just a really nice, tight rocker. The bass playing is fantastic throughout. I think this is the one album where Michael Anthony's really stepping up on bass. There's a fade out during the solo. Never should happen. Then we got Dirty Movies, which is kind of more great bass. Eddie flexing, a little bit of a slower vibe. We get to begin, we drop into this little swingy type strut about 50 seconds in. There's a little David Lee Roth moment when he talks, which I'm always a fan of when they bring it down so David Lee Roth can say something in the middle. And this one he remembers, do you remember that when that girl was prom queen? Because we're talking about Dirty Movies. And there was a girl in my high school that did go on and star in Dirty Movies. And I remember coming back, freshman or sophomore year in college to visit like the old high school stomping grounds. And people were like, did you hear what happened to so-and-so? So yeah, this song always felt I connected with this song. Sinner Swing is next. Nice little 3-minute short burst of awesome energy. Hear About It Later, calm, chill guitar into a nice drop about 30 seconds later. Bigger, dramatic song. Okay song. Kind of melodic vibe, a little bit softer. Another one that is a cool breakdown in the middle with some bass and some nice tasty guitar being featured. Then we get Unchained. Just a great riff. Absolutely amazing. This is probably the first song on this album that really kind of taps into the Van Halen vibe from the first 3 albums. We're like, okay, this is like old school Van Halen. Absolutely love this song. A little bit restrained, a little bit darker. Fantastic. Nice short little Eddie solo in here. Push Comes to Shove. Bass-led slow groover. Kind of low key, kind of funky. Really doesn't even sound like Van Halen, but it absolutely works. Get a nice little funky middle section. We get a fade out, which is a sin. But Push Comes to Shove. Kind of a standout on this album because it doesn't really sound like traditional Van Halen. So This Is Love. Nice, light, fun, great fun vibe. I believe this was a single. Sunday Afternoon in the Park, which is this weird, odd, moody, synth-infested instrumental that goes into One Foot Out the Door, which has this synth riff that kind of rises out of the aforementioned instrumental into this kind of nice rocker. The longest guitar solo on the album, I believe, is on here. And there's another fade out. You fix those fade outs. I mean, the album's only like 31 minutes long. Fix those fade outs. Give me maybe another verse or a better, longer guitar solo. This might jump a spot. Maybe one spot. But yeah, that's my number 4. Fair warning. And these top 3 have moved around a lot. And so listening to it this time, I put at number 3, their 3rd, Women and Children first. Love this album. This has some of the best Van Halen deep cuts ever. Opens up with And the Cradle Rock, and the Cradle Will Rock. Full swag, full flight, full rock and roll attitude. Have you seen Junior's grades? I can't do it. DLR impersonation. Absolutely amazing song. Next is Everybody Wants Some. Kind of think this album might be better if those 2 songs were switched a little bit. But love the drums in the beginning with like sort of like jungle noises happening or just some weird atmospheric noises. The opening vibe, the opening 45 seconds build into the drop is fantastic. Like just should have opened the album. And then we get the actual real start of the song. Doesn't happen until like a minute 15 into it. Build up is fantastic. Excellent rocker, excellent playing by Van Halen. Fun song. We get some more David Lee Roth talking during the breakdown. Just a winner. Fools, nice bluesy intro that I think if they had stayed with it, I may not like the song as much, but they don't. About 45 seconds into it, we go into this big chord, get this flurry of action. Van Halen starts solo shredding, and then we get into this nice groove riff, and then the song proper kind of starts about a minute and a half in. Very ZZ Top adjacent rocker, but just a little bit of a bigger sound. Eddie dropping like licks and riffs throughout the whole thing. Just kind of a deep cut Eddie show off song. Then we get Romeo Delight. Loose, fast, Awesome energy in this. Great breakdown for DLR in the middle. Eddie is shining throughout the entire thing. We kind of bring it down towards the end, then bring it back up for some big energy. Romeo Delight, one of the deep cut classics from Van Halen. Then we get Tora, 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 which has this almost like backward mass guitar action or something going on into this short, like Sabbath-esque riff with some screaming. And that goes right into Loss of Control, which is this fast tempo, high energy rocker. It's like 2 minutes and 45 seconds of pure adrenaline. The Tora, 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 Loss of Control combo kills it. Absolutely love it. And then the next two songs is where my opinion of this album wavers, depending on whether I'm into the acoustic Van Halen stuff or whether I wish they never delved into the acoustic Van Halen stuff. But we get Take Your Whiskey Home, like an acoustic bluesy jam with, some DLR vocals. The full band comes in like 45 seconds and gives us this sort of typical Van Halen rock with a really cool groove. I don't know if I need all this acoustic intros as much, especially because the next song, Could This Be Magic? It's like 2 minutes of acoustic, folky, low-key, almost Disneyland-esque type vibe. And I do think that Could This Be Magic just kind of robs side B of a little bit of its momentum. In a simple rhyme, awesome. Nice melodic acoustic intro for 20 seconds before we go into this really drum-driven rocker. The vocals and the lyrics, there's this very storytelling vibe to like David Lee Roth's performance that is just great energy. There's this great driving momentum to the whole song. Nice, almost folky psych pop middle. Some harmonies in here are great. I really, really like this song. There's a lot going on. Feels like it's a little more ambitious than some of their other stuff. Fantastic. Should have closed the album, but then we got another sort of hidden track, which is like a big, thick, crunchy 20 seconds of groove called Growth, which, I don't know, just get rid of that. Anyways, I really like this album. I think side A is almost perfect. Side B is one little flaw for me, and Could This Be Magic? But a strong, strong number 3. Sometimes it's my favorite. Many times it's my favorite. So number 2, and I went back and forth on these a lot. I'm going to have to own my feelings on this, but re-listening to these this past week. At number 2, I have their debut album, which is darn near perfect. Opens up with Running with the Devil, which is like their sound is fully formed from note 1, from song 1. There is swag. I love the little melodic run that happens after the second chorus. Everything about this song works. Then we get Eruption, just Eddie showing off, doing what nobody else had done on an album yet. Kills it. You Really Got Me. It works. It's a great drop after Eruption. I was an early Kinks fan. My early Kinks fandom was centered around those like 60 songs such as this. This helped me fall in love with Van Halen the first time I heard this. Pretty faithful cover, other than the fact that Eddie Van Halen's on guitar. Ain't Talking About Love. Possibly one of their best songs. That riff is amazing. The breakdown is amazing. The song absolutely kills. I'm the One. Fastest, heaviest, hardest thing on this album yet. Great high-speed rocker. We get a Baba Basha Badua type vocals in the back half. A playful song that rocks hard. Switch over to side B. Jamie's Crying. This is a band who just knows who they are. Jamie's Crying was a huge LA radio song. Absolutely love this. You get that drum intro and just that swaggy, cocky riff that drives the song. Atomic Punk, not a punk song. It is the hardest thing on here yet. Great bass during Van Halen solo. Feel Your Love Tonight. Awesome. Another hard rock riff. Probably the best riff on here after Ain't Talking About Love. This is the one that has that Dance the Night Away vibe. I think they kind of took the vibe of this song and made it poppier on their second album. I do like this song. Little Dreamer, another great riff, little dark little vibe, kind of a slower mid-tempo moodier sound. Ice Cream Man. This works for me. I like the playful energy of this. Sometimes like David Lee Roth leaning into an Ice Cream Man vibe works better than the Big Bad William is Sweet William Now, whatever that crud is. You get the 1 minute intro into the electric drop. Absolutely works for me. and On Fire, which is just like a big hard rocker with more fantastic bass playing. So I put this at number one, and this is at number two, and I absolutely love this album. I think it's one of the greatest debuts ever. But I gotta admit, in my heart, when I revisited this album as a 55-year-old man, my number one, it was 1984. I remember the first time I heard this album. My friend Peter Brody, if you're still out there, Peter, hit me up in the comments. Let's chat. He skipped school the day this album came out. I believe albums came out on Tuesdays back then. He skipped school so that he could go buy this. And during lunchtime, we had an open campus. I went to his house. He lived really close to the school. He had bought this, and he had bought Rainbow's, the one that had Street of Dreams on it. Is that Bent Out of Shape? Was that the one that had Street of Dreams on it? Because we were huge Rainbow fans, and none of us had that album yet. It had come out like 3 or 4 months earlier. And we got to his house, and I remember he's like, we're like, how is the album? Like, we're really excited. He's like, listen to this crap. And he puts it on, and we hear the minute-plus synth intro of 1984. As how old were we then? 12? As 12-year-old preteens, we were like, what is this crud? And we listened to the album. There were things we liked, but then things like I'll Wait we didn't like. And like, I don't know, the synth stuff as like impressionable youth who are reacting to other people's reactions to this album, I wasn't all in. I'm all in now. It works for me. I've embraced synths. 1984 opens it up. Great little intro before we get the the Jump intro. Jump's a great song. Jump's iconic. I'm not gonna. I've heard it way too many times at way too many sporting events. I'm all in on Jump. Panama. This is Van Halen on all cylinders, man. Reach down between my legs. The number of times I have said those things while I've been driving on road trips to other people in the car when I have to adjust my seat for whatever reason, I let them know, I'm going to reach down between my legs and ease my seat back. Yeah, love that song. And then we get like there is not a bad song on this album. Deep Cut, Top Jimmy, the awesome, like great harmonics, him, Eddie playing around on the guitar into that awesome riff, great driving rocker. Drop Dead Legs, mid-tempo rocker with a little bit of swag. Love the chorus. You know that you want it. Almost sounds, I don't know, almost sounds like it should have been a hit. Great riffs, a great little jam buried in the middle of this song. Like, side A is just darn near perfect. I just don't think there's a bad song. Same with side B. Hot for Teacher, another all-time classic. A little bit silly, but it works. I'll Wait. The synths work for this. That plodding, driving groove work on this. Probably the most melodic composed solo Eddie had dropped up to this point until 5150, when I think there's another really good melodic composed solo on there. Really like I'll Wait. Then maybe the best song, not the best song because Panama's a rocker. Girl Gone Bad, like completely underappreciated deep cut. Awesome intro. I think we get some more harmonics with like Eddie muting the strings as he's playing around. Great build. Some kind of pseudo-proggy runs. Just an awesome song. And then maybe the weakest track on here, but not a bad track, is House of Pain. It's kind of this weird off-kilter, riff-driven rocker. Like it just never really, they never really find a groove, but it feels like they're purposefully not trying to find a groove in a weird way. Great little middle, great break and playful breakdown as they are wont to do. There was a fade out, but I don't know. There's not a bad song on here. And if you're still hating on Jump after all these years, I don't know. I mean, Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher, I'll Wait. Those were hits for a reason. Drop Dead Legs, Top Jimmy, Girl Gone Bad are all really, really fantastic deep cuts. And House of Pain is not bad by anybody's stretch of the imagination, I would argue. My number one, 1984. I'm going to own that. Yeah. It's not a bad song on this album. That's what they look like in writing. The list. Like I said, I've had Women and Children First where I obsessed over it for like weeks at a time. Same with the debut. Same with 1984. Number 4 right there. Fair warning. That sometimes I obsess over that one. It's really just the bottom two, which for me, I think have their moments and have absolutely great moments, but also have a couple flaws. So, but anyways, I'm a huge Van Halen fan. I'm a huge early Six album fan. As I go through, on the next video, I've checked out each of those albums a number of times. I kind of like 5150 when it dropped, but don't listen to it much anymore. So I will be surprised if any of those crack this top 6, but we'll see what happens in a couple days. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And yeah, peace. Talk to you later.